Hello, everyone. My name's Danielle, and I wanted to take a quick second before Nicole got started to say welcome. Um, I'm just glad that you're here. I'm glad I'm on this call myself. I think it's amazing and wonderful that each one of you showed up tonight and showed up for yourself. And it's definitely a great way to show yourself some love and be your own advocate to learn more. Maybe you're here for yourself like I am, or maybe you're here for a loved one, which is awesome too. So you're welcome here, and I'm glad that you're here. I just want to take a quick moment to share a little bit about Nicole. She is a wife and a mama to 5. She's such a wonderful mama. I look up to her a lot for that. And not only that, is she's has served as a birth worker, a natural fertility coach, a holistic health practitioner. And so she's got such a wealth of knowledge that I definitely value. She's also been a great friend of mine, a dear friend of mine for about 8 years now. And she's helped me tremendously along my health journey. So I'm just so grateful for her. And I think it's just wonderful when she shares. I think she has a ton of wisdom that I just soak all up as much as I can. So like Robin mentioned, if you have a piece of paper or want to jot down some notes, that would be something that you would want to do. Also, chat feature. I know Nicole has preached this 1,000 times. Join the chat because there's a lot of great information in there as well. Before we get started and before Nicole gets started, I just want to take maybe just a moment. I like to do this before I'm beginning anything. If you're sitting or if you're standing, maybe take a moment and ground your feet. And if it feels right for you, if you're driving or if you got crazy kids going crazy, I understand. This might not be the time to do that. But if you can join me for just a moment, then awesome. So maybe grounding your feet if you're standing or even sitting. If it feels right in your body, you can go ahead and maybe shut your eyes and just take a moment for yourself. And then you can kind of relax your face, your shoulders, your belly. And then just take a couple deep, full breaths. And then you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. And I'm grateful for you, Nicole, and I can't wait to hear what you've got to share tonight.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Danielle. That was like the perfect transition into the call after a day of being pulled in different directions. I'm sure other people felt it as well. And you are just so freaking cute. So freaking cute. So thank you. Okay, y'all, I am diving in. I am just going to jump in because I have a lot to cover. A lot to cover. And if you know me, if you listen to any of my teachings, when I say I have a lot to cover, it's a lot. And I have a tendency to talk fast. So I'm not going to speed myself up, but I am going to cut out the fluff. So let's just jump in. You're here because obviously you want to learn about how to balance your blood sugar. But before we talk about the how, we have to talk about the why. We have to talk about how we know when our blood sugar has gone absolutely cray-cray. So here's some of the ways that you know, and a lot of people don't associate these things with imbalanced blood sugar. So you might really be like light bulbs going off because most people are like, oh, my blood sugar's low. I'm hangry. Oh, there is so much more that happens besides getting hangry, sister. Hangry is like full body shutdown. Okay. There are lots of other cues throughout your day that your blood sugar is wacky. Okay. Number one, poor concentration and memory loss. Two, fatigue, feeling sluggish. Three, metabolic disorders, including type 2 diabetes. Weight gain or difficulty losing weight, mood swings or hangry, cravings for sugar, fats, or salts. I mean, how's that one? Basically, if you crave food, chances are you have unstable blood sugar, okay? Digestive issues such as bloating and gas, skin problems, including acne and rashes, systemic inflammation. We're going to take a deep dive there. Impaired immune system. Most people have no clue that if they have imbalanced blood sugar, your immune system is also affected. And then hormone imbalance. So what is blood sugar? That is like great place to start, right? So blood sugar is also referred to as blood glucose. It's the amount of glucose present in your bloodstream. Glucose is a key source of energy for the body and comes from the food we eat, primarily carbohydrates. So what is the connection between blood sugar and insulin? These are all words that we hear tossed around when it comes to blood sugar, but I'm going to help you make some connections so it all makes sense, okay? So insulin helps to regulate blood glucose levels. In order for your body to use the glucose, it needs insulin. And insulin works by attaching to cells and allowing them to take in the glucose from the blood. Without enough insulin, blood sugar can become too high or too low, and then that's where we get all these health complications, right? So our goal, our aim is to find a balance between sufficient levels of both glucose and insulin to maintain blood sugar levels, okay? So simply put, insulin is a hormone that helps us metabolize our food. Insulin also facilitates the movement of sugar into our cells, and every function of our body needs this. Every single function of our body, okay? So insulin is like a key that unlocks the doors to our cells and our metabolism, okay? So that's a huge, huge, huge thing. I want to say it one more time. Insulin is like a key that unlocks the door to our cells and our metabolism. Imbalanced insulin leads to insulin resistance, which that is often where we end up with the spare weight around our midsection. Okay, so this insulin resistance is like putting the key in and it getting stuck in the lock. Okay, and so it's like our cells are getting jammed full of sugar. Now, our pancreas will always come to the rescue when the key gets jammed in the lock, and it will keep producing insulin for us for a while. And then it gets fatigued. When this happens, we begin to see high insulin levels that lead to imbalances in the body, and then again, metabolic disorders. So how this plays out, what this looks like, how it relates to the immune system and inflammation, because again, they're all connected. High glucose levels can suppress the body's natural ability to fight off infections and illnesses. High blood sugar can also increase inflammation, which then weakens the immune system by reducing its protective abilities. Chronically elevated glucose levels damage cells and weaken the body's defense mechanisms, leaving it vulnerable to disease and infection. This also leads to systemic inflammation. When our bodies experience a sudden rise in blood sugar, it triggers an inflammatory response. How does this look in the day-to-day? This looks like at 3 o'clock when your blood sugar crashes and you're like, oh my gosh, I have crossed the threshold. I am hangry. You go to the cabinet and you grab the handful of chocolate chips. Then you stick your hand in the potato chip bag. Y'all, I mean, come on, somebody else like testify. Somebody like, yep, that's me. Nicole's calling out my number, right? What's happening is our blood sugar is soaring, right? Because it's just this rush of of processed carbohydrates, right? And we literally just triggered an inflammatory response like that. Boom, done, we're there, okay? So then what happens? We go from what's that emotion that we're feeling when we're hangry? We're feeling angry. We're feeling like frustration, right? We feel all of this like stuff building up in our chest, right? And we're like, food is the answer. So that feeling that we have is cortisol. Cortisol is another hormone. So if you are someone who is struggling with imbalanced hormones, you have to pay attention to your blood sugar. And this is why. We're going to talk about the HPA axis. I cannot talk about blood sugar and not talk about this HPA axis, which stands for the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And it's one of your body's most vital networks. Your HPA axis coordinates your stress response. Now, you don't necessarily have to experience a major stressor. That's what I want to stress to you all, because it's our body's natural fight or flight reaction. And so this can be activated when we do really intense exercise, when we get startled by loud sounds, when our bodies recognize foreign invaders like viruses, bacteria, toxins, or when our blood sugar drops. So when your blood sugar drops, it's not just, oh, mama's hangry. It's literally your entire hormonal axis is now being triggered into a fight or flight. So your cortisol's like kicking in, your thyroid is affected, your ovaries are affected because they all work on an axis, and you don't affect one part. You don't like hit the axis and not have it all affected, right? Okay. This HPA axis also regulates our circadian rhythm. So as soon as the sun comes up in the morning, your melatonin levels drop and your blood sugar is low because you've been fasting all night. So the rising sun and your low blood sugar activates your HPA axis. So the hypothalamus tells your adrenal glands to produce cortisol. Cortisol then reduces stored sugar from your liver and your muscles. And then your hypothalamus is like, hey, let's break this fast and get to work. Okay. So the cortisol's job is to release the stored sugar to fuel your body as part of the stress response. So when we don't feed our bodies, and this is where I'm going to say this about intermittent fasting, y'all, I'm going there again. If y'all follow me, if you've been on my calls, you know I'm going there. If you're going to do intermittent fasting, make your cycle earlier in the day. Eat breakfast. Eat your breakfast, eat your lunch, eat your dinner earlier, then cut it off. Okay? Because your body, one of the ways that we can kind of hack our metabolism, hack our hormones, is literally signaling to our body, fast is over. I'm going to nourish you. Let's go. And then we end up with balanced blood sugar and we begin to balance our hormones. So let's talk about the things that lead to imbalanced blood sugar besides just starving ourselves, okay? It's the same three things I talk about all the time. The same three things that are at the root of all diseases. Y'all put them in the chat if you know where I'm going. Y'all have heard me, I'm on repeat. It's like a broken record, okay? It's toxicity, malnutrition, and trauma. Those are the three root causes for every disease on the planet. Every disease it's rooted in one of those three things, maybe a combination of two or three of those things, but there we go. So let's take a deeper look at how this relates to our blood sugar. So toxicity levels and the insulin connection. So insulin is one of the hormones responsible for regulating the body's metabolism and storage of nutrients. So when toxins damage cells, the body's ability to produce insulin efficiently is affected, leading to high levels of toxicity in the bloodstream. High levels of toxins also directly inhibit the production and function of insulin, which becomes this vicious cycle. So it's kind of like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Because it's just like this, oh my goodness, toxins can lead to insulin resistance. The high levels of insulin connects to high storage of toxins. Okay, so making sure that we are aware of what is in our environment, reducing the toxin load as much as possible is crucial. And no one's perfect. No one is perfect. When we know better, we do better. It's a journey. It's not this, oh my gosh, we panic. We're not going to stress about the toxins in our environment. Why? Because when we stress, our insulin goes up. Okay, so that's the opposite of what we want to do. We want to show ourselves grace and slowly eliminate those toxins. Cool. Next up, malnutrition and improper nutrition. Second biggest cause of this imbalanced blood sugar. So processed foods are completely stripped of their natural nutrients, which leads to deficiencies and makes it harder for the body to control glucose levels. That's it. Simply put, when we aren't getting nutrients, our bodies struggle to regulate the glucose levels. When we're eating processed foods, it also causes an elevation in inflammation levels, which of course is also linked to higher levels of glucose in the blood. Not to mention that most processed foods are exceptionally high in sugar, are loaded full of crazy ingredients that our bodies can't process. So our bodies identify this processed food as what? As a toxin, right? So now we're right back into the number one. So like you're starting to see how all of these things are so interconnected. Now we're going to add in yo-yo dieting and extreme exercise. Because when we get our fill of the processed food and we're like, oh, wait a second, I need to lose weight because that 15 pounds around my midsection is hanging on for dear life. We start this cycle of yo-yo dieting, extreme exercise, nightmare, complete nightmare for our blood sugar. Food deprivation and intense exercise cause our bodies to produce cortisol. That cortisol again raises glucose levels by stimulating our livers to release the glucose. So again, we're back into that cycle. We're back into the craziness, which is why I'm so opposed to diet culture. I am so opposed to diet culture because we are literally training our body to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And yo-yo dieting is just a cute way of saying I'm destroying my metabolism and I'm crashing my blood sugar. Like horrible, horrible, horrible. Okay. Then the third thing, trauma. I've already mentioned it. Stress almost always chronic ongoing stress almost always leads to insulin resistance. So, I mean, hello, we've all been there the last 2-3 years, right? Riding the ups and the downs of the stress, the crazy, all of it. So chronic stress causes, again, the production of cortisol. Cortisol affects the body's, the whole process of making insulin. And then it also makes muscle and fat cells resistant to insulin. So, like, how many of us, when we're stressed, we either stress eat or we don't eat? And then again, it's like the up and down of the calories, no calories. And then you add cortisol into the mix and it's a no-go, which is why I love that Danielle opened up our call with a breathing exercise, grounding us, because this is one easy way, a few minutes a day, that we can just calm ourselves down, bring the cortisol levels in check, right? Okay. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope, that would be redundant. Okay, moving along. Let's talk about some tips for balanced blood sugar. There are quite a few. Get ready to write, friends, because there's some good tips and these are all free. Okay, first, make sure you are hydrated. Dehydration causes blood sugar to become concentrated. There's also a powerful link between minerals and insulin and cortisol imbalance. So make sure that your water, reverse osmosis, water is one of the worst water filtration systems that you can use if you are not remineralizing. Okay, so if you have an RO system, make sure you're adding minerals into your water. Make sure that you're taking extra minerals because it's literally depleting your body of minerals. Okay, that's huge there. I'm also not advocating tap water. A great filtration system is huge. Good, clean water, okay? Then eating in frequent intervals. So focus on eating fiber, whole foods, minimally processed foods, healthy fats. Fat is our friends. Good, healthy fats like avocados, coconut products, nuts, seeds, all our friends, okay? If you grew up in the 80s, that whole fat-free generation, bogus, garbage. Don't listen to it, okay? Again, I'm talking about good, healthy fats. Let's talk about complex carbohydrates real quick. Diet culture, all of the diet trends have told us carbohydrates are bad. Avoid them. Our body, one of our body's sources of energy is carbohydrates. The other source of energy for our body is fat. One or the other, or it could be both, okay? And then protein is essential. But complex carbs are composed of multiple sugar molecules, which takes the body longer to break down. So you chowing down on a roll of Starburst is far different than you eating a sweet potato. So we're talking about a simple carb in the starburst, which the body breaks down immediately. You get that sugar rush, you get lots of hits in your brain. Your brain's like, this is good, right? Because our bodies can use it so quickly, which is why we reach for that chocolate bar or the potato chips in the afternoon. However, if we were to grab an apple, that is, yes, it has higher carbs, but it also has fiber, it has vitamins, it has minerals, and it takes our bodies longer to digest it. That is an excellent source of energy. Two, I mean, it could be equivalent carbs, but very, 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 very different in how the body processes the carbs. So some examples of complex carbs I already told you about: sweet potatoes, beans, lentils, oats, quinoa, starchy veggies, and fruits. Simple carbs. These are the things that I'm not saying not to eat. I'm saying be mindful. If you are trying to heal your metabolism, if you're trying to balance your blood sugar, be mindful if you choose these things, and make sure you're pairing it with something that will slow down the digestion of the simple carbs. So for example, both white and brown rice are considered a simple carb. I know everyone's like, don't eat white rice, eat brown rice. Brown rice is also a simple carb. But if you're like, I like rice, pair it with a protein and a healthy fat. Slow down the body's digestion process and break just using those carbs right away. Then the obvious ones: cakes, cookies, candies, processed foods, all simple carbs. Okay. Not the best thing to reach for first, but I'm also not saying like labeling them as bad. Okay. Okay. Next thing, manage stress. Ooh, one of the big ones. I already shared with y'all how stress is connected to your blood sugar. This can be things like deep breathing exercises, like Danielle pointed out, grounding yourself, both feet on the ground. If you can get out into nature, I know most of us live in really snowy places and right now it's cold, but just both feet on the ground, being mindful of your posture, taking some deep breaths is a powerful way to ground yourself, like just get energy flowing through your body, feel amazing. You can also journal. A lot walking. I know, again, it's winter. We walk year round. It was 4 degrees this morning and we were out walking. It is so powerful to heal the neurological, like your brain, as you are walking and things are going by in your peripheral vision. You are literally signaling to your brain, I am not stuck. I can go forward. I can move. I have autonomy. I can make decisions. It's amazing what happens just with a simple act of walking, even if it's only 5 minutes, y'all. 5 minutes is all it takes. So bundle up, get outside. I love y'all, but this is one area I won't give anybody excuses. Okay, cool. Next up, prioritize sleep. Poor sleep negatively affects how insulin is used by the body. If you are not sleeping, your body is not properly using insulin. Your body, your blood sugar will go up and your blood sugar will go down. A lot of times when especially women, if you wake up around 3 a.m. most nights, it's a huge red flag that you have a blood sugar imbalance. Huge red flag. That is typically when the liver tends to heal, reset itself, and that's when we often get a glucose dump. And if your insulin, if your blood sugar is unstable, your body will have a cortisol surge. See how the two are related, and you will jolt awake because your body's like, whoa, not safe, fight or flight. There it is, just like that. So establishing nightly routines and using holistic remedies to help you get to sleep are super, super, super powerful. And then there's some that help you stay asleep, which I'll talk about in a second. All right, and then gentle movements. Gentle movement. If you know that you have unstable blood sugar, it is not the time to do CrossFit. It is not the time to push your body to its max. I would say it's not even the time to do like a HIIT workout. It is time to move gently. It's time to do something like Pilates, or again, walking or yoga, something that helps lower the cortisol so then your blood sugar can come down as well. Another big thing here is prayer, meditation, while doing these gentle exercises, because of the mind-body connection. So if you're telling your body, I am safe, this is not going to stress me out, Exercise is not a form of punishment. I am honoring my body. My body is healing. You're speaking life over yourself. And again, bringing down the cortisol, helping to balance that insulin. Okay, so lifestyle absolutely matters. I work really hard at being disciplined, not only with my health, with my family's health. Now that I've blasted through a lot of information, let me give a little bit of background about my health journey and how I ended up teaching about this, and how this is one of my one of my favorite topics to teach. When I was 18 years old, I was diagnosed with metabolic syndrome X. I was told that I was a pre-diabetic. I was diagnosed with PCOS. I was diagnosed with endometriosis. I was diagnosed with GERD. I had severe heartburn. I sat sitting up in a chair at the age of 18 years old. I was on 11 different prescriptions, and no one talked to me about my diet. No one talked to me about managing trauma, stress, emotions. No one talked to me about toxicity. Of course, I was 18 years old and I was eating garbage. I was working at McDonald's at the time. And so I was eating McDonald's like twice a day. And no one ever talked to me about it until someone did. At the age of 20, I met this beautiful, amazing older man who has since passed. And he began to teach me about what it looked like to eat healthy, what it looked like to nourish my body, what it looked like to balance my blood sugar. And within 3 months, I was cycling every 28 days. I put PCOS into remission. Within that same 3 months, I lost like 20 something pounds. My body literally did a full 180 because I was giving it the nutrients that it needed. And I learned to balance my blood sugar. Okay. So this, and I came off every single one of my prescriptions. Every single one of my prescriptions was done so within 6 months of completely overhauling my lifestyle. Now, does that mean I'm perfect to this day? No, it doesn't. Listen, I love me a great Chick-fil-A sandwich. Okay. I do. Thank God that the closest one is like an hour and 15 minutes away. And that forces me to have some self-control. Okay. Anyway, y'all get the point. But in addition to the things I talked about, lifestyle, and these are the lifestyle tips that I gave y'all. I mean, Robin has pointed it out. Robin's on the call. She knows I'm out walking and my kids are out walking. Like, we're doing these things. Like, I walk the talk. It's not just something that I'm like, oh, hey, y'all should try this. I'm here teaching because I believe in it and I want to help you and I want to empower you. And I wish I could like come and like stand behind you all day long and cheer you on and be like, come on, you can do it, but I can't. So anyway, lifestyle tips. But then there are some other tools in my toolbox that have had a profound effect. And I want to share those with you as well, because despite all of the discipline that I have, despite all of these things that I practice, my body still needs help. I'm 40. Now, I do have this precursor. It's genetic. This metabolic syndrome X is genetic for me. And again, I don't live a completely perfect life. So these tools help me. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is Acemannan. Acemannan is a polysaccharide. It's a compound that's derived from the aloe vera plant, and it's been found to have exceptional benefits on blood sugar. So aloe vera has the exclusive patents for the most concentrated form of Acemannan on the market. It's 4 times stronger than anything else that's out there. And what's beautiful about this product is that there's been so much research done on it. It's close to $200 million worth of research has been done on Acemannan, and these are clinical studies. These are some of them are double blinds, peer-reviewed studies. One of the studies specifically related to blood sugar shows that Acemannan helps balance blood glucose by blocking the absorption of carbohydrates and promoting insulin production, which plays a role, again, in metabolizing sugars. Let me see if, perfect, I can copy from my notes. If you're going to watch a replay, I'll make sure that all the studies end up in the description for the replay. So anyway, there's the first study. The second study, and again, there's thousands, but I'm specifically mentioning some that are in relation to blood sugar. Shows that Acemannan is really powerful. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory, which again, when you reduce inflammation, you also help regulate blood sugar. It also helps provide antioxidants that protect cells from damage caused by elevated glucose levels. So there's lots and lots and lots of uses. I'm going to throw this in the chat so you can have that one. All right. The next study, Acemannan is powerful at helping to increase nutrient absorption. Research found that when Acemannan was injected with vitamins, hear this, when it's ingested with vitamins, it increased the blood levels of the nutrients by 2,000%. 2,000%. So when you take it with your other supplements, whatever else, whatever other supplements you're taking, no, it is like an accelerator, it's a driver, all the things to get those nutrients into the cells. It also has the ability to detoxify the body by helping it get rid of toxins and heavy metals. It does this in 3 ways. Number 1, by balancing the immune system, which aids in the body being able to eliminate metabolic waste. It binds to and transports toxins such as heavy metals out of the body through the intestines. It also supports kidney function by helping to balance the levels of electrolytes in the blood. So remember when I talked about minerals and how our bodies need minerals in order to help balance our blood sugar and balance our hormones? Acemannan helps our bodies level out, balance the electrolytes in our kidneys. So if y'all tuned in and really heard, literally Acemannan addresses all 3 of the areas that I was talking about that are at the root of disease. Now, does it cure, heal, treat disease? No. It helps our bodies do what our bodies were created to do by literally being one of the most magnificent compounds on the planet. Helps eliminate toxins. It helps with absorption of nutrients. And it also helps in many, 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 many ways with stress, because it helps heal the lining of the gut. When the lining of the gut is healed, it helps with our brain, the brain-gut connection, direct connection between depression, anxiety, and gut health. So lots and lots and lots of benefits there. Okay. The second thing that I am a huge, gigantic fan of is a drink called Fix. Y'all, I feel like I just want to keep it in my hands all day long. The secret sauce in Fix is ashwagandha. There have been thousands of studies done about ashwagandha. But again, in how it relates to tonight's topic, ashwagandha helps balance blood sugar. It contains active compounds that stimulate and regulate the production of insulin, which helps metabolize sugars and prevents them from building up in the blood sugar. So in the afternoons, if you're like, oh my gosh, I need sugar, I need carbs, grab a snack, mix up a Fix. It comes in like little packets, and it's so tasty. Anyway, it also has anti-inflammatory properties, which reduce damage caused by extended periods of elevated glucose, as well as antioxidants to protect the cells from oxidative stress. Now, Aloe Vera has, again, a patented form of ashwagandha called sensory trim. So it's super, 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 super concentrated ashwagandha. They have the patent on it. And of course, they put Acemannan with it, which makes it more bioavailable, makes it easier to absorb, right? But in a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled human trial done in 60 days, sensory trim showed that it reduced cortisol by 24%. It reduced cholesterol by 9.5%. It reduced fasting blood sugars by 4.7%. Sorry, I'm going down the list. It reduced the overall measure of stress by 69.9%. It reduced fatigue by 79%, reduced irritability by 76%. Y'all, like all of the things that we have talked about tonight, like literally ding, check, 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 right? Like Fix is a go-to. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, maybe we'll see time. Oh, I still have a couple minutes. Yay. Is progesterone. So I've talked about hormones. I've talked about the hormone connection. This is for both men and women. So, hey, I know we have a guy on. Don't tune out because you heard hormones. So what happens in the body when our bodies are converting and producing hormones? Our bodies, testosterone will convert to estrogen, but it can also convert to progesterone. When we live in a highly toxic, highly stressful environment, our body will always go towards estrogen dominant. Always, always. Okay, so the rough part with that is that progesterone plays an important role in regulating the body system, especially the metabolism and blood sugar. So there have been lots of studies done that show that progesterone has a super benefit, like it's powerful, it's really beneficial at lowering blood sugar levels when they're high. When they're low, it helps our bodies say we're not in a state of stress. Progesterone keeps our bodies out of a state of fight or flight. When we are stressed, cortisol chews through progesterone. If we are using a progesterone precursor, our bodies say, wait a second, I'm not hangry. I'm not fill in the blank. I'm just simply hungry. So it helps us stay in a more balanced state. Does that make sense? So it improves insulin sensitivity, which then helps reduce high glucose levels and support better metabolic function. It also helps with inflammation. Again, those damaged cells. When we're inflamed, when we have this elevated like level of glucose, our cells are like, whoa, 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 creates oxidative stress. It's a whole deal, right? Okay, so Diazgen found in Aloe Vera's balance contains standardized levels of the most scientifically validated natural molecule for supporting the body's ability to stay in hormonal balance. So Diazgen is an extract from wild yam, and it's incredibly effective at stopping the enzyme that converts testosterone to estrogen, which is why it's great for men as well. So men, it will help bring men's testosterone levels into balance, because instead of converting to the estrogen, it says, nope, we're good, we're here, we're okay. So it can help men lose weight, because estrogen in a man's body will absolutely slow down the metabolism, will absolutely lead to imbalanced blood sugar, right? Same thing happens in a woman's body, but we also have some other hormonal contenders that go on because of that HPA axis with our ovaries, and it kind of causes this whole storm, right? So balance is a great option for both men and women. Okay, totally great for both men and women, and helps blood sugar, hormone, inflammation, all the things that I talked about tonight. All right, and since, yep, I have just a couple minutes, I am going to talk about one last thing, and it is if you are looking for an easy button, if you're like, Nicole, I know I need to make dietary changes. I know that my tendency is always going to be to swing through the drive-through and grab, something while I'm out. I want to offer up an option, and it might be right for you, it might not be right for you, and that's okay. But it is a protein shake. And for a long time, in some seasons, I drink them a lot, depending on how busy I am, depending on how disciplined I am, depending on a whole lot of variables, right? In this season, I'm drinking at least one a day. But Aloe Vera has a protein shake called Prime Protein, and it has 20 grams of organic plant protein. It is the cleanest protein that I've seen in my almost 20 years of being in the holistic nutrition field, okay? It helps balance blood sugar. It has enzymes to help your liver break down nutrients. It has prebiotics, has Acemannan, but it also has, something called S7, which is a proprietary nitric oxide booster. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule that our bodies produce to maintain blood vessel integrity, the oxygenation of tissues, and our metabolism. So healthy, active metabolism, healthy blood sugar. There's a direct correlation. And I taught about metabolism last week, and go back and watch that video. The connection between nitric oxide, estrogen, testosterone, thyroid hormones, stress hormones, glucose, insulin. Our bodies have to maintain nitric oxide levels properly. Otherwise, we end up with a massive imbalance in all of those areas. And as we age, our bodies stop producing as much nitric oxide. So it comes in vanilla and chocolate. It's really tasty. I've tasted a whole lot of protein shakes in my life. And this is by far the best plant-based protein shake that I have tasted. So that's just a last, like, kind of like, if you need a quick fix, quick, like, easy button, because your brain needs time to like make different choices or to do some research, there you have it. Okay. So just as a recap, when we are like really wrestling with imbalanced blood sugar, and I truly believe that almost all of us are, for one reason or another. Either we don't know how to eat, our busy lifestyles, maybe we have fallen for diet culture and we're like, yeah, I went low fat, and our bodies just can't get back into a state of homeostasis. Whatever the reason is, at the core of keeping your blood sugar balance, it's lifestyle. Before supplements, before any of these things, I will always, 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 always preach lifestyle. No pill, no drink, no shake can ever replace unchecked stress, not eating frequently enough, not eating a balanced diet, not taking care of yourself. Okay. So that is like more than anything what I want y'all to hear. Now, again, do I have tools in my toolbox? Absolutely. And if you want these tools, get with the person who invited you to the Zoom. They will make sure that you are hooked up, that you get a discount code, all the things. Okay. But more than anything, like I said, I just want you to know that you are worth it. You are valuable, and getting your blood sugar in check is truly one of the best, most important things that you can focus on, because as you learn tonight, it affects every other system of the body. It affects inflammation, it affects hormones, it affects depression, anxiety, all the things. Okay. So please, 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 if you want to go back and re-listen, please do. Please do. I'm so glad that you joined us this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Thank you for making time for you, because again, you're worth it. As always, I will stick around for a few more minutes and answer any questions that you may have. I just ask that they stay on the topic of blood sugar. Okay. Just for tonight. And if you guys want to message me with other questions, feel free to. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If you need to head out, head out. Thank you again for being here. So much love to you.